Journey to the West in Vernacular, Chapter 36. Watching lanterns and encountering Rhinoceros at Jinping Mansion. From masters and disciples of Tang Monk left Yuhua City and walked for 5 or 6 days before entering a county outside Tianzu called Jinping Mansion. They walked through several alleys and suddenly saw Sun Temple in front of them. Tang Monk and his disciples walked into the temple, wanting to rest their horses and have a fast meal before leaving. The presiding monk heard that they were from the Eastern Tang dynasty and hurriedly greeted them with greetings. After finishing the fast meal, Tang Seng urged his disciples to get on their way early. The monk in the temple advised him, "The Lantern Festival will be in 2 days, and it won't be too late to leave after the Lantern Festival." It was difficult to refuse the kindness, so Tang Monk had to agree. On the Lantern Festival, the monks in the temple invited Tang Seng and his disciples to go to the streets to watch the lanterns. So Tang Seng and his disciples followed the monks in the temple and came to the city to enjoy the lanterns. The lights in the city are brilliant, and the sound of shengxiao and songs is endless. When they came to the entrance of the Golden Lantern Bridge, they saw 3 golden lamps as big as water jars hanging on the pillars. The oil they burned had a very special aroma. After Tang Monk asked, he found out that the lamps were lit with precious suhi sesame oil. The oil for the 3 lamps was worth more than 50,000 taels of silver, all of which were paid by the people of the mansion. While he was talking, a whistling wind suddenly sounded in the air, scaring the people looking at the lights to hide and avoid them. The monks all said, "The wind is coming. It's the Lord Buddha who is watching the lantern. Let's go back quickly." After Tang Monk heard about it, he wanted to stay and worship Buddha. In an instant, 3 Buddha bodies appeared in the wind. Tang Monk hurriedly knelt down to worship. Sun Wukong saw 3 monsters. Before Sun Wukong could open his mouth, a strong wind blew over, and Tang Monk disappeared immediately. Zhu Bajie looked around anxiously, and Sha Monk also shouted from far and near. Sun Wukong said, "Brothers, there is no need to shout anymore. The master has been captured by the goblin. You 2 and other monks go back to the temple to guard the luggage and horses. I will chase after this strong wind." After that, he ran straight away. Sun Wukong chased until dawn. The wind suddenly stopped. Sun Wukong landed on a cliff and was looking for a path when he saw 4 people driving 3 sheep. Sun Wukong took a closer look with his fiery eyes. It turned out that the changes were made by the 4 heroes of year, month, day and hour. They came specially to tell Wukong. This mountain is called Qinglong Mountain, and there is a Zunian cave on the mountain, where 3 people live. Goblin. Sun Wukong asked the 4 heroes to leave after asking clearly that the big goblin was called King Paihen, the second goblin was called King Pishu, and the third goblin was called King Pibichin. He turned around the mountain call to look for the goblin's cave, and sure enough he found it. Sun Wukong didn't want to risk entering, so he stood at the gate and shouted, "Monster, send my master out quickly, or I will beat you all to death." The little demons quickly ran to the cave to report. The 3 demon kings each walked out of the cave with weapons in hand, followed by other large and small minotaur ghosts. When Sun Wukong saw this, he waved his golden cudgel and struck him. The 3 demon kings also waved their weapons to fight. The fight lasted until dusk. King Pichin waved his flag, and a group of little demons surrounded Sun Wukong and started beating him. Sun Wukong didn't dare to fight anymore and jumped to the cloud. Returning to Sun Temple, he carefully told Zhu Bajie and Sha Seng the story. The 3 brothers were afraid that the goblin would harm their master that night, so they took advantage of the moonlight after dinner to ride on the auspicious clouds and arrived at the entrance of Zunian Cave. Sun Wukong asked his juniors to wait for a while, and he turned into a firefly and went into the hole to find out what was true. Sun Wukong flew to Tang Seng, showed his original appearance, used an unlocking method to help Tang Seng take off the handcuffs, and then led the master to walk quietly out of the cave. Unexpectedly, I met a patrolling little demon on the road. Sun Wukong killed 2 little demons with 1 blow, and another little demon escaped. As he ran, he shouted. The hairy-faced monk got into the hole to kill people. When the 3 demon kings heard the cry, they quickly got up and shouted, "Catch him." Tang Monk was so frightened that his hands and feet were weak and he could not move. Sun Wukong was afraid of being surrounded, so he had to leave his master and go out of the cave alone. When he saw Zhu Bajie and Sha Seng, he simply told what happened. The 3 of them listened again in the cave, but there was no movement at all. They were worried that the demon king would harm the master. Zhu Bajie got anxious, picked up a rake and hit the stone door. smashing it into pieces. The Demon King, who had just walked back, heard that the cave door was smashed, and was so angry that he turned around and came out again. The two sides fought hard, and when King Paihan gave an order, the little demons swarmed up, tripped Zhu Bajie and Sha Sang, tied them up and took them into the cave. Sun Wukong jumped on the cloud and ran away. Sun Wukong left Zuning Cave and rushed to the 9 layers of clouds to go to heaven to bring in reinforcements. He met Tai Bai Jinxing at Zishanmen. Tai Bai Jinxing listened to Sun Wukong's story and said that the 3 monsters were rhinoceros spirits. As long as Saimu Kingsing went down to the realm, he could subdue the 3 monsters. After saying that, he took Sun Wukong to the Lingxiu Palace to play to the Jade Emperor. The Jade Emperor sent Zhu Tianxi and Sun Wukong to the Bullfighting Palace together, and asked the 4-wood bird star to descend to the mortal world to subdue demons. After receiving the imperial decree, the 4 wooden birds, Xingzhimujujio Du Muxi, Quimilang, and Jingmian flew into the clouds with Sun Wukong to the sky above Zunian Cave and Qinglong Mountain. Saimu Kingsing said, "Great sage, you first go to fight with the 3 goblins and lure them out, and we will follow suit." Sun Wukong came to the cave door and yelled and cursed for a while. The 3 demon kings were so angry that they led the little demons out of the cave and formed a circle formation, trapping Sun Wukong in the middle of the formation. The 4-wood bird star descended from the sky, each raised his weapon and shouted, "You evil beast, don't do it." When the big and small demons saw the 4-wood bird star, they all showed their original appearance and ran all over the mountain. The 3 demon kings also showed their original appearance. They turned out to be 3 rhinoceros spirits. They fled towards the northeast. Sun Wukong, Jing Muyan and Zhao Mujiao are in hot pursuit. Du Muxi and Quimilang captured the cow spirits alive in the valley and on the mountaintop, and beat them to death. Then they went into the cave and rescued Tang Sang, Zhu Bajie and Sha Sang. The 2 birds are going to help Sun Wukong capture the Demon King. After Zhu Bajie and Sha Sang sent them away, they returned to the cave and found a load of cloth, silk, gold and silver. They moved it outside the cave and asked the master to sit on the cliff. Then Zhu Bajie set a big fire and burned Zuning Cave to ashes. The 3 masters and apprentices slowly found their way back to Siun Temple. Du Muzi and Quimilang rode the clouds and chased them to the western sea. From a distance, they saw Sun Wukong shouting on the sea, and the clouds lowered their heads. It turned out that the goblin had already gotten into the water, and Jing Muyan and Zhao Mujiao also chased them into the water. Sun Wukong stayed on the water to guard them to prevent them from escaping. At this time, Sun Wukong saw helpers coming, so he asked them to intercept them on the sea. He recited a water-avoiding spell and went to the bottom of the sea to help fight. Sun Wukong came to the bottom of the sea and saw Jing Muyan and Zhao Mujiao fighting fiercely with the 3 demons, so he immediately jumped over to help with his stick. The 3 demons were already very tired. Seeing Sun Wukong coming, they were so frightened that they fled towards the center of the sea again. Patrolling, Yaksha saw this and hurried back to the Crystal Palace to report to the Dragon King. The old Dragon King ordered Prince Mong to lead his soldiers to help. Prince Mong led the turtle generals, turtle commanders, shrimp soldiers and crab soldiers to fight out of the Crystal Palace, blocking the way of the rhino spirit. The rhinoceros spirit was attacked from both sides and fled in all directions. Pigeon was knocked to the ground by the soldiers led by Prince Mong, who grabbed his 4 hooves and tied them together. At this time, Jing Muyan appeared in anger and bit off Paihan's neck. Zhao Mujiao at the same time, he also grabbed Bishu. They came to the Crystal Palace and sawed off Paihan's horn, and Sun Wukong took it with him. He and Saimu Kingsing escorted Bishu and Bichen, said goodbye to the Dragon King, and returned to Jinping Mansion on the clouds. Sun Wukong shouted in the air, telling the soldiers and civilians that the gods had subdued the rhinoceros spirit that had been doing evil for many years, and that from now on they should no longer offer sesame oil for golden lamps. When Zhu Bajie and Sha Sang heard Sun Wukong's cry, they jumped up into the clouds and said, "Push these 2 monsters down and let the local soldiers and civilians come to see them. The 4 star kings also, please come down to earth." So the 4 stars, you stepped on a bunch of colorful clouds and landed on the palace hall. You saw the officials, soldiers and civilians of the county hurriedly setting up the incense table and worshipping the gods. Zhu Bajie got angry, took a sword, cut off the heads of Bichen and Bishu, and sawed off the 4 horns. Sun Wukong said, 4 star officials, please take these 4 rhinoceros horns to the upper world and pay tribute to the Jade Emperor. Go back and pay the decree. He left one of the 2 rhinoceros horns he carried in the palace, and the other one. I am only going to take it to Lingshan to offer to Buddha. 4-star Lord took the rhinoceros horn, said goodbye to Sun Wukong, and rode on the colorful clouds back to the heavenly palace. The county magistrate of Jinping Prefecture followed Sun Wukong's wishes and posted a notice saying that no more golden lanterns were allowed to be lit in the next year. Then he built a 4-star demon-subduing temple, and built a living shrine for Tang Monk, master and disciple. The stone tablet was engraved with text and passed down to later generations. Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.